Since January of 2026, Indonesia has deported 165 remote workers and influencers from Bali and detained another 62. And that's just the first few months of this year. In 2025, they deported over 2,600 people in a 7-month stretch. Let's make sure that doesn't happen to you just because you posted a photograph the wrong way on your Instagram. Now in April, they put together a name and a budget for this new crackdown effort, the Dharma Dewata Task Force. 100 immigration officers assigned to the exact cities where creators and remote workers like to live. Canggu, Ubud, Seminyak, Uluwatu, they're doing surprise document checks at villas and cafes and shops, and they've said openly that they're watching social media, looking for people posting sponsored content and brand deals while they're in the country on a tourist visa. Now, if you saw the Bonnie Blue headline last year and figured this was about one specific kind of online creator or influencer, it's not. The people getting caught are yoga teachers, shop owners, consultants who thought they'd set up a legitimate company. I'm examining 3 of these cases and how they might apply to you because each one got caught a different way, and together they'll tell you whether or not your tourist vacation photos could get you in trouble and exactly what visas you need to legally run your retreat, your remote business, or your travel channel while you're in Bali. Then I'll tell you exactly which visas you actually need depending on what you do for a living. I'm recording this video where I live as a permanent resident in Mexico. I'm afforded the right to work because I have the proper visa. Indonesia functions exactly the same way. Now, our first case study there never made international news, and that's the point of it. 2 Russian women flew to Bali and received a visa on arrival, the same one millions of tourists use. While they were there, they taught yoga and meditation classes at a villa in Ubud called Art Villa. They collected a small fee from whoever showed up. No brand deals, no production crew, no following, just 2 people teaching yoga in the place everybody dreams about teaching yoga. Immigration picked them up for working on a tourist visa. They couldn't afford the flights home, so they sat in a detention center until something was arranged, and then they were banned from returning. $40 a class was enough to trigger this. That's the part people in the wellness world don't want to hear, because half of Bali's retreat and workshop scene runs on exactly this: foreigners teaching, hosting, and healing on tourists' visas. Now, under Indonesian law, the money doesn't have to be big and your intentions don't matter. If you're collecting fees or even getting a free room in exchange for teaching, that qualifies as work, and a tourist visa does not cover work. So the obvious response to this situation is, fine, I won't wing it. I'll get a real visa and run a real business. Which brings me to a shop owner in Ubud who did exactly that, but still ran afoul of the law. When immigration walked into his store to do their check, the guy was showing one of his employees how to scan barcodes into the pricing system. He wasn't on a tourist visa. He had an investor KITAS visa, a residence permit built specifically for foreigners who put money into an Indonesian business. He owned the store outright. On paper, he thought he'd done it correctly. But here's the trap, and it's one that almost nobody sees coming. An investor visa lets you invest. It does not let you work. Indonesia treats those as 2 completely different things. Owning the business and putting capital in is an investment. But the hands-on, day-to-day running of it is labor, and labor needs a separate work permit. Standing behind the counter teaching someone to use the barcode scanner counts as labor. That was the violation here. He couldn't produce his paperwork when they asked, and the head of the Denpasar immigration office, Rida Sakputra, flagged him publicly for activity that did not match his permit. He was one of several people picked up that week, most of them on the same investor visa, making the same incorrect assumption about their right to work in Indonesia. A barcode scanner is where they drew the line. That tells you how literally they're reading it. And it matters because just set up a company and get an investor visa is the most common advice in every expat group online, and it falls apart the second you actually do anything inside your own business. Now, none of this is Bali hitting tourists. Almost 7 million people visited last year, and the island wants every single one of them. What it doesn't want is people quietly running businesses on a tourist stamp, earning money while paying nothing in and taking work off of locals. The immigration chief called the task force a concrete manifestation of the state's presence in surveillance. So this is not a sweep, this is not a seasonal effort. This is just how it works now in Indonesia, and in my estimation, we'll be seeing a lot more of this worldwide in the coming years. So at least the store and the investor were real in that last case. But sometimes people look at self-sponsoring, that is, creating your own business and using it to hire yourself as their golden ticket. It's a tactic that millions of people use worldwide to achieve legitimate status in their desired country. Like many programs though, it can be abused or misused, and that's just what this next guy did. This Canadian man came in on a tourist visa back in 2020. Then he upgraded to an investor visa by registering a company, describing it in official documents as providing design, retail, and photography services. But when immigration checked, the company didn't exist at the address it was registered to. He'd also moved without telling them, which is a separate violation. He was deported and banned from returning. It wasn't a one-off though. Early in 2025, Indonesia audited 267 foreign-owned companies in Bali and pulled the business licenses on every one of them that could not show real investment behind the business. And the bar for real investment is steep and specifically defined. 10 billion rupiah, around 600,000 US dollars. The governor held an emergency meeting and called out some 400 foreign-run rental and travel agencies in one district alone, a lot of them with no office and owners that didn't even live on the island. Ghost corporations formed to skirt the law on behalf of their registered owners. So, we've covered the casual approach, the legitimate on-paper approach, and the build a fake structure approach. None of them survived contact with immigration authorities, which leaves a question everyone posting paid content on social media while on vacation is worrying about in the comments sections. What does keep you out of trouble? Before I get to the visas, there's one thing I need to clear up because it's the question I've been getting more over the last few months than any other. If you go to Bali and post your vacation photos, are you in danger? Now we have to be very specific in this modern age of influencers and sponsored content. A sunset, a plate of food, a rice terrace, your trip shared with people back home, that's tourism, and that's what the visa you receive is for. And Bali's not alone in this. There are places right now where filming on the street can cost you thousands of dollars in fines. There's a city where a photo of a certain famous tower at night is technically illegal to post online. And another country where a casual street vlog can break someone's legal right to their own face if you capture them in the background. Most of it would blindside you completely. That's coming in our next video. Make sure you subscribe to catch it before they catch you. Now, the Indonesian government is very specific in drawing its restrictions for tourists versus professionals. And that line in this case is whether money or value is changing hands. The moment your content comes with a payment or compensation of any kind, of any value, a free stay, a barter deal where you tag another account as thanks or payment, an affiliate link to an Amazon product like the camera you are using to film the vlog or the shirt you are wearing, or even a discount code for an affiliate deal, a tagged brand, all of these things are violation. Immigration treats that as commercial work. And it doesn't matter that the cash lands in your account back home or that no Indonesian company is cutting you a check. If you are earning off of it while you are standing on Indonesian soil, the tourist visa doesn't cover it. They've told everyone that they're scanning social media for exactly this. So the post itself will become the evidence they use against you. A tourist posting a sunset is fine. Posting photos that your grandmother likes, that's fine. But the same sunset with a hotel tag or a promo code is an invitation to a case file. So, if you're like me and any part of your business or income is tied to your social media, here's what Indonesian visas you actually need to get to make sure that you don't run afoul of the law. It comes down to what you do for money. If you work remotely for a company outside Indonesia and you clear about 60,000 US dollars a year, there's the E33G visa, Indonesia's actual remote work visa. It's good for a year with multiple entries, and it's a real residence permit, so you can open a bank account, sign a lease, and work from a cafe without having to watch the door for immigration. It runs you $600 to $800 in fees and takes about 2 weeks to process. But there's real fine print. Income requirements, bank balance proofs, freelancer eligibility gray zones, and tax implications that can put your worldwide income on the table from day one. That's not stuff you want to guess at. I've laid out all of this in my guide, and I'm telling you straight up, do not get caught without it. I'm not a tax guy, talk to one before you file. You need to know the traps that exist before you apply and before you relocate, not after. But that's the option that most creators and remote workers will use. If your goal, though, is providing service on the ground in Bali or other parts of Indonesia, that's not the visa for you. If you want to actually teach the yoga classes, spin records in a club, shoot photos, run health retreats, anything performed for people physically in Bali, that's a working KITAS visa with a local sponsor, a different animal entirely. That's the permit those two teachers in Ubud needed and didn't have. If you want to own and run a business there, you would set up a foreign-owned company with real capital behind it. Then you stack a working KITAS on top of the investor one because, like the barcode guy found out, the investor visa alone never lets you lift a finger inside your own shop. And if you just want a few months to explore and maybe answer a few low-risk emails on the side, there's the B211A social visa. 60 days extendable to 180. But I'll be straight with you though, working on it has never explicitly been allowed. It's been a quiet loophole for years, and this is the year that they are likely closing it. The officers, the social media sweeps, the surprise inspections, that's all built to end loopholes like this. Now, I'm filming this from Guadalajara, where I have a permanent residency. I didn't write a tourist visa and hope that nobody checked. I went and got the right permit, and I run my business out in the open. That's what I do for myself, and that's what I help other people do here and in a bunch of other countries. Don't risk arrest and being banned because you skipped that step. If any of this sounds like your situation, or you're planning the move and you genuinely don't know which bucket you fall into, I put together a Bali visa guide built for creators and remote workers that I work with daily. It's a detailed assessment of which visa fits which kind of work, the freelancer gray areas, the tax stuff that nobody warns you about, as well as a decision tree so you can find your own answers fast. If you're headed to Bali or you're already out there, grab the guide below. And if you'd rather just talk it through, you can book a session with me and we'll map out your specific situation. Don't let the trip of a lifetime turn into a deportation story. I'm Brad with Evolution Expats, and I'll see you in our next video.